When has instinct saved you from a bad situation? It's one of my favorite questions of substance, and we all know the feeling, no matter how it presents itself to us. That cold tingling at the base of the neck, a prickling in the hands, sometimes even full-body chills. It's a question posed in many different ways, across Reddit too, so I thought I'd read you some of my favorites. User I Am The Price Is Right writes, 10 years ago, I had finished my junior year of college and applied for a summer study abroad course in Dubrovnik, Croatia. It was my first time traveling alone in a foreign country. My flight from Chicago to Zagreb was late, and I missed the flight to Dubrovnik. It was several hours until the next flight, so I asked if there was anything else I could do, and was told I could fly to Split and then take a train. I got to Split on time, but on the way to the train station I hit traffic and just missed it. By the time I arrived in Dubrovnik, it was after 1 a.m. local time. I left the train station hoping to find a taxi or bus to take to the building I was staying at. I could not find any, and the doors back to the station were locked. I didn't want to just sit there and wait until morning, so I started walking in the direction I thought would lead me towards the old city. I passed a few people, but none of them spoke English, so I just kept walking. I came across a stray dog walking my way, but didn't think anything of it at the time. A few minutes later, I stopped to adjust my bags, when the same stray dog came up from behind me and stopped a few feet in front of me. It looked back at me for a few seconds, started walking forward, and then looked back at me again. I had the strong feeling that I should follow the dog. I kept up at first, but began to slow. I had to stop at one point, and when I looked up, I couldn't find him. There were 2 ways I could go, left and straight, so I went left. Wrong choice. I ended up in a narrow side street with one lamppost, and under that lamppost was a man sitting next to his van. I walked past him and heard him get up, open the van door, and start the engine. As the van started to follow me, I moved over as far as possible, hoping he would just go past me. Nope. As he got closer, I could hear that there was another person in the van. The van got right behind me, and just as the side door slid open, the stray dog came from the end of the street, barking and growling and running in my direction. The van stopped. I legged it and made sure I did not lose sight of that dog again. Not only did the dog likely save me from being kidnapped, it led me all the way to the gates of the old city. User Louder Harder Foster writes, in the middle of the night, for no good reason, I left my boyfriend's house and drove home 40 minutes away. He was perplexed, but I had a feeling. As I reached my front door, I heard a low crash down the block. No one else heard it or came out. Long crazy story short, I pulled a man out of a burning car before he burned alive. I still have the scars from the burning seatbelt plastic. Some days I think of it as a coincidence. Some days I think it was some kind of intervention. User Fellweed writes, when I was 15, I was at a park with my mom and my sisters. My mom was on the phone with someone and I was listening to music with my headphones, and then I got a really bad feeling. I took out my headphones and realized my mom wasn't paying attention, so I gave a quick look around for my sisters. The older of the two was still playing, but I couldn't find the younger. I tried alerting my mom, but she brushed me off because of her phone call. I started freaking and looking and saw her walking away to the parking lot with some 30-something guy. I ran over and started screaming at him and made a big scene. The guy tried to say they were just getting cookies from his car, but I kept making a scene until my mom and other people came. I took my sisters home, while my mom stayed there. To this day, I'm thankful that I took that moment to look for her, because I have no idea what he was planning to do. Scared the living crap out of me. Cookies my ass. Cookies my ass, indeed. That sounds like a close call. User fake_Fakington writes, I was staying in a friend's house out in the country. He was asleep in another room. I was dozing off with his gigantic pit bull, Isabel, sweet girl. In the middle of the night, I am awoken by sounds outside, like scrabbling. Izzy leaps up too, looks at me, then back at the door and growls. My friend at the time had a young daughter, 4 or 5, so I am immediately thinking of her. I grab the nearest weapon, which is a fire poker, and go to open the door as Izzy is beside me, seemingly ready for a fight. But it didn't feel right. I instead bar the door best I can and creep to a window looking out. Outside is a gigantic bear, so big it could easily rip my head off, and it has a few cubs in tow. I watch as it ambles off. I'm pretty sure that if I had charged out that door as I had originally intended, me and Izzy would not be here today. User Keikel Mulford writes, I was like 8 or 9 when my parents took me and my younger brother to stay the night at my paternal grandparents' house because they were in the middle of divorcing. They lived in a farmhouse that was connected to a barn with machinery, gasoline tanks, and hay on the ground floor, and furnished rooms on the floor above that. and the room we were supposed to stay in was in that barn. As soon as we went into the guest room, I was overwhelmed by panic and felt dizzy. I turned around and just said that we will not sleep in that room, and we spent the night on the couch in the living room instead. Later that night, a gas leak in the barn ignited, and almost the entire barn, including the guest rooms on its top floor, exploded. Maybe I had that weird feeling because the gas had leaked into the room already, but no one else felt anything, and I'm sure I would be dead if I hadn't noticed it. User beardedalien013 writes, "A few years ago I was at a bar with a couple of friends. All was good, we were drinking and having fun. All of a sudden, we heard this discussion taking place just a couple of tables from us. Two guys decided to have a shouting match. I stopped everything to pay attention to them. My friends were making fun of me, saying I was gossipy. One of the shouting guys got up and left. Immediately after he left, I told my friends we had to go. Now. Let's get the fuck out now. They didn't quite understand why I was like that, but since I've been friends with him forever, they reluctantly agreed. We went to a different bar in a different neighborhood, but I couldn't take my mind off of those two guys. The next day, the news was talking about a bar fight. Apparently the guy who got up went home, grabbed a gun, and came back for a drive-by. He killed 4 people in the process. My grandpa taught me to never ignore my gut, and I couldn't be happier to have listened." User Canadian_neckbeard writes, "When I was about 18, I was on a back road with some friends, and a girl I didn't know was driving really fast. Now, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and I have always enjoyed a calculated risk in the name of a good time. But on this occasion, I told her to either slow the fuck down or let me out. I literally had to start screaming at her before she listened and slowed down. A week later, she crashed on that same stretch of road at 90 miles per hour, killing her and the 3 passengers of her car." User Assaulty writes, "After a party many years ago, I was driving home at like 4 a.m. with my friends passed out in the passenger seat. I was driving fast down a steep hill that's like half a mile long, at least. I was on autopilot as I drive down that street every day. Suddenly, about half a block from a major intersection, which I had a green light for, a voice in my head said these exact words. 'You may want to slow down, because if you don't, you might lose your life.' It was weird because that's not how I talk. Anyway, I slowed down, and as I was entering the intersection, a car blew the red light at about 50 to 60 miles per hour right in front of me. It was so close that I nearly threw up. I started shaking and punching my friend, yelling how I just saved our lives. Oh my gosh." He just groaned and went back to sleep. Punk. User Ghost Radish writes, "Never used to lock my doors getting into my car. 1987, had to push the lockdown. Decided to lock them one night going home. At a stop sign, a man ran out to my car and started yanking on the door handle. He tried the rear door as I sped off, probably hurt the fuck out of his hand. No idea why I locked them. So glad I did." User Winterbird writes, "I almost got kidnapped once. I was like 23 or so. I was walking down my street a little after dusk. I saw a van approaching a little ahead, no lights on. Didn't think much of it due to the time of day. The van slowed down and almost started creeping as I was approaching this part of the sidewalk which had a tall solid wall fence to a community. This gave me some pause in that quick moment. For me to keep walking, I'd have to go between the wall and the van. In the little time it took me to take a couple of steps, and as the van was getting close, I noticed that the side door was slowly sliding open. The one thought in my mind was, why isn't the light turning on inside the van? When you open the door of a vehicle, the light should come on inside of it, unless you deliberately switch that off. And I just ran to the median. I ran in front of the van and across the street, because if they're going to have some use of the roadkill version of me, have at it. But they're not getting me in one glorious piece. Immediately, the van took off like someone lit it on fire, from a slow crawl to full speed. As I looked after it to see the plates, I noticed it had no plates, and still no lights. I called the police, of course. They sent cars out and didn't find the van. I never had anything like this happen again, and I'm just an ordinary person, so I don't suspect it was targeted. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Damn, it just goes to show. Never ignore your instinct. Don't doubt your gut feelings. And if there's anything else you'd like me to read about, just let me know. You can DM me, and there's a link to my emails in my link tree, which is on my profile. But that's it from me. Over and out.